The lighting here is really interesting. I am so sorry about half my face being brighter than the other half. Oh, here comes the sun. This video is a mess already. What's up, guys? It is literally me. And today I am doing a K-pop rewritten for the first time. Right now I'm filming this on Changbin's birthday, which is, it's already the 11th in Korea. I'm just gonna speak into this. I think I did this in the last video. Actually no, maybe you haven't seen me film like this. But either way, this is so I can be heard, because for some reason the mic on this camera doesn't work out all the time. Anyway, so I'm sitting in my K-pop corner. I actually have a lot of other posters above me, behind me, above. I don't know how to explain that. I am here to talk a little bit about Background, which is the first K-pop slam poem that I'm putting on this channel. I have a couple others. This one is based off of Changbin. He's from Stray Kids, which is one of my alt groups, and the song Streetlight is so good. I highly suggest that you listen to it because it is an amazing song. Streetlight is where I got inspiration for Background, and a lot of what I do with the poem is stuff that I got inspired from, or I think about as I'm listening to Streetlight. Part of the reason why I wrote this is not only, so I didn't write this specifically for Changbin's birthday. I wrote it specifically because I started watching a lot of his Vlives, and they're just so interesting because he talks about rap and gives all of the how rhyme works. And it's just so cool, and it's for the first time I literally feel like I can connect with an idol on something that I'm interested in. Usually it doesn't work because I'm not a huge music person. I mean, I love music, I'm just not a person that produces and creates lyrics, and I never really saw it, my slam poetry and like lyric making as kind of the same thing, but now I definitely do. And so with Background, I really tried to capture bits of my own experience, as well as kind of combining a little bit of Changbin's message into the entirety of Background. Streetlight is basically about wanting, at least how I interpreted it, is wanting to be that light, but also sometimes being a streetlight can be lonely, and although you might help people at night and guide them through the darkness and stuff, you kind of don't have anyone to lean on. And in that way, it's kind of what I tried to capture in this poem. I really like this poem because I got to try a lot of different rhyming things, which are things that I learned from Changbin's Vlive, which I will potentially link down below. If you do want to see them though, you have to have a Vlive account, and to have a Vlive account, you have to have like a Line account or a Naver account. But it's fine. Those things are all free. You could totally get them if you wanted to. A lot of his lessons are just based on how rhyme works, how to use different rhymes and not the same thing over and over again. And I tried doing a lot of internal rhyming. I don't know if it actually worked out. If it did, great. If I actually don't have any internal rhymes, then I must be confusing what an internal rhyme is. Either way, I tried a lot of new rhythms and how to speak and do my slam poetry a little differently than I normally would. Usually I kind of just do rhymes from the last word or like the first word, or I repeat things and I do a lot of repetition, but this was something a little bit new, at least for me. I'm so happy that I got to kind of like remix Streetlight in my own way into more of a slam poem form, and it was just so fun. I have the poem over here, so that's what I'm looking at. There's not a lot. I think a lot of it is pretty straightforward. Once again, all of this is my interpretation. Everyone's going to have their own interpretation of Streetlight. For me, I want to capture more of the imagery side of things, and in some ways, I kind of also incorporated a little bit of how I feel like it would be if I was in a position of a lot of people look up to me. How long has it been like that? Come back. So I tried to combine a little bit of maybe how it would be like to be an idol and have a lot of people look up to you, and how there might not be a lot of opportunities, I guess, for you to kind of like be sensitive and be emotional, because so many people rely on you for light that you don't really have a chance to like crack. For me, as I was thinking about streetlights, not only do they help to lead you through the dark, but there actually are a lot of streetlights, and people don't really pay attention to it too much, and then all of a sudden when they're gone, you suddenly realize it. And that was me actually going to Washington with my friend, and she was driving around, and it was so weird because, I mean, it makes sense, but in Hawaii, I feel like there's streetlights everywhere. Like, everywhere is usually pretty lit. And not in that way, but usually there's always a streetlight somewhere. Versus in Washington, at least where my friend is, she's an hour away from Seattle, so she's in a smaller town, and there are areas on roads that there are absolutely no streetlights, and it's just so interesting to just see all the darkness. Like, it's so weird to just drive around. And when she said she was scared to drive at night, I thought she was just, I'm sorry to my friend, I thought you were just being dramatic, but I wouldn't be able to drive because there's just so much dark space. Like, it's just, yeah, I can totally see why. When you think about it, streetlights are always part of a background. Like, they're always part of a setting, and they provide a lot, but you don't really think about it too much. And in that way, I tried to capture those symbolisms in this poem. I just remembered. So there is a line in here that says, "They say don't let them change you, be you, they always say. So always alone, that's me, that's my destiny." That line is not saying that all songs, and I know especially Stray Kids and BTS songs, have a lot of meaning about loving yourself and being yourself. And so in this way, I was kind of taking a more negative spin on it, just to I don't know, it just came out of me. It's just how slam poetry works sometimes. I kind of changed that to show a little bit more of a negative light, to like, just be you, versus like, being the best version of your, like, being happy. It's a part of being happy with who you are. Just something to think about. I'm not trying to put a negative, I'm just trying to show you there's two sides to how people might view things. Two different lights in that way. Oh good, while the dog is barking, let me get back into focus again. I'm just, just pretend the dog isn't barking. Just pretend the dog isn't barking. I should have closed my window before I started. That was my first mistake. My favorite line is, "But I'm a streetlight, one amongst thousands, so how then, how can?" And I really liked that because that was something that I've heard a lot of like great lyricists do in K-pop, is they kind of do like, and I've also heard it with like Eminem and NF, they do those kinds of rhymes, and I've always wanted to do that kind of rhyme, and I'm so glad that I found a phrase that I can use for it, because it just worked out really well, and I really liked that. Oh my god, child. It's not my dog, it's my neighbor's dog. I deeply apologize for this interruption. Okay, it sounds like he's done. The other line is, "I'm just a streetlight, one amongst millions, one amongst buildings and built to stand alone." There's a really easy, like, rhyming thing that you can always do. If there's a certain word that sounds like, for example, millions, I tied it with and so and doesn't always have to be pronounced as and. You can say, like, one amongst millions, one amongst buildings and, but the and the A isn't as strong. And depending on how you use it, and can be used for more of an N sound versus like and. And so you can, depending on what you want to rhyme with, you can just use that. Guys, I really liked this poem. And I knew for sure I wanted to include the 가로등 불빛처럼, and I really hope I'm saying that word correctly. I really pray I'm saying it correctly, but...
Is it 가로등 불빛처럼?
가로등 불빛처럼. Pretty sure it's correct. Or maybe I'll just put Jisung saying 가로등 불빛처럼 really whack.
가로등 불빛처럼.
And which, by the way, 가로등 불빛처럼 means like a streetlight, at least from the translation that I saw. It's just straight up like a streetlight, which is the main chorus part of the song. That part is always showing up, and it is such a powerful thing. I knew that I wanted to include it at the end, and so a lot of the rhyming that I pull towards the end kind of pulls closer to rhyming it. And so I'm getting closer to my goal, which is to eventually write a slam poem in English and Korean. So we're halfway there, folks. We're halfway there. So in conclusion, this is not going to be the last a K-pop rewritten poem, or I guess K-pop inspired poem. And I have 2 others that I would like to eventually put on this channel because I love both of them. Please listen to Streetlight. It is what I got the inspiration, like I've said a million times in this video already, is where I got the inspiration for background. And I honestly am curious if people who see this have seen Streetlight or listened to Streetlight. What did you think of my inspired poem from it? Because I would love to hear those opinions. Changbin is an incredible... In a way, Changbin is a poet. He's a poet. And I look up to all poets because all poets are extremely talented. And for those that can combine 2 languages, because think about it guys, K-pop is English and Korean. Like, there's English and Korean in like most Korean songs. I mean K-pop songs. It's a combination between the 2. Like, isn't that so cool? Or I'm just a word person. Like I said, I'll also link down below Changbin's Vlives that he talks about rap and poetry. Poetry in a way, lyrics, same thing. So that if any of you are doing slam poetry, it is a very good video to watch. Even though what he's talking about is in Korean, you can still apply it to English words. Or whatever language you prefer to do slam poetry or any of your poetry in. It's all helpful, and you can really take away something from it. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you are having a good day. If you're not, I'm sending good vibes your way, and I will see you guys in the next one.